How quickly do you think these cruise lines can add more passengers and still abide by CDC rules?
Yeah, well, there's a dual path that I think the cruise industry is going to take in terms of getting back on the water. Ships like Celebrity Edge, where the vast majority of passengers and certainly 100% of the crew were vaccinated, in very short order, I think those cruises are going to get back to 100% and as is industry standard, 100% plus capacity. There are other ships where vaccinations are not required or do not surpass what is a 95% hurdle of vaccinations, where I think that capacity ramp is going to take somewhat longer. But I would expect by the end of this year, probably first quarter next year, I think things are going to be getting closer to what we would think of as normality in the cruise industry.
That's interesting. We spoke to a number of passengers, all of them very eager to get on board, but some of them also expressed their, I wouldn't say concern, but the fact that they were just going to be a little bit more cautious on board. They weren't going to partake in all of the activities. Some of them said they were just going to stay on the cruise for 7 days. They would not disembark and participate in any of those excursions that the cruise line was offering. Does that mean over time these cruise lines will be making less money per passenger on board?
In the very near term, right? I think all of us, as we get back to the closest thing as we can think of is what our lives look like pre-pandemic. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I think people are going to slowly dip that initial toe into the water. But I think over time, we're going to ultimately get back to how we used to live. The cruise industry, if you remember, was really ground zero of the pandemic. And there were these fears that not only would you catch the virus on board, but that you would ultimately be stranded. I think the industry has done a great job of hitting a lot of those fears head on, making passengers feel comfortable. But it's not going to happen overnight.
Well, what would you say is the top pick in the cruise line sector? Norwegian, Carnival, Royal Caribbean. We also have Virgin Voyages, Richard Branson's cruise line, set to go public sometime later this year.
Yeah, Royal's been our favorite for a variety of reasons. They had a lot of good momentum heading into the pandemic. I think there's all the reason in the world to believe that they'll have the best coming out. Their balance sheets have also been have held up, I think, better than the other two. As you can imagine, these companies have had to take on significant amounts of debt and equity. Royal, the least so. And so as we exit, the amount of leverage, the amount of dilution that shareholders are seeing, substantially less at Royal versus certainly Carnival and Norwegian.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.